Hey, Money Magnets, I'm your host, Dr. Amanda, and if you're a coach, entrepreneur, or service-based business owner, you're in the right place to learn practical, actionable law of attraction strategies that will help you grow yourself so that you can grow your business. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner world, so if you want your business to grow and you want to experience money magnetism and you want your life and business to feel awesome, you got to change yourself first. And that's why I always focus on mindset and state of being and up-leveling your vibrational frequency first before you take action. And today you're in for an awesome episode where I'm going to talk about the top 5 money mindset books to help you increase your money magnetism. Now, let me start off by saying it was very challenging for me to narrow this down to 5. When I started taking notes on the books, it's several pages long, and I thought, I have 18 books I want to share. I actually have a list of 18 books that I could share with you, but it would be a 6-hour episode. So I narrowed it down to 5. And in the show notes, you'll see a downloadable PDF with clickable links to each of these books so that you can order them easily. So let's jump right in. Of course, if you've been with me, you know that I wrote a book called I Am a Money Magnet, the top 30 money-making affirmantras to manifest more. If you type in affirmantras or even I Am a Money Magnet into the search of this podcast, you'll see several episodes that will cover my book. Yet, I wanted to recover it here and put it as the top one because this book is a collection of years of research, years of experience working with other people, myself going from food stamps to 6 figures in my business, and really understanding how to synthesize all the information I learned from all these other books that I read. And at this point, I would say it's hundreds of books focused specifically on money, on mindset, on law of attraction, maybe even thousands of books at this point. I listen to podcasts all the time and I go to workshops. I'm really, really intrigued by money mindset. You know, whenever we have a void in our lives, for me, it was money was a big one. We spend a lot of time focusing on learning how to master that. So our voids become our values. And when I learned that I could shift my values to wealth building, I started devouring everything I could about money. And I started spending time with wealthy people and I started going to workshops. And so this book really dives into the principles behind Law of Attraction 101, how to reprogram your mindset, and it gives you over 100 journaling questions to help you break through your unconscious money blocks, your money beliefs that are holding you back. So for my book, you can go to IamAMoneyMagnetBook.com and there are free chapters there, and download the free chapters, see how you like it, and then of course you're going to want to order the book. This book is life-altering. It's a really great book to do with groups because of all the journaling questions. So, it's a really practical guide. It's going to help you turn on your money magnetism. It's going to help you permanently transform your money mindset. And here are just some key takeaways and quotes from the book. First, it's all about mindset shifts. So something I say in the book is the way you think and feel about money directly influences how much of it flows into your life. So that's really important. The way you think and feel about money directly influences how much of it flows into your life. So how are you thinking and feeling about money? And all the questions in this book are going to help you dig into those underlying beliefs that you have that you might not be conscious of. And so that's key, mindset shifts around money. The second key takeaway in this book is money magnetism. Obviously, the book is named I Am a Money Magnet, so the point is to help you become more magnetic to money. And here I say, when you believe you are a money magnet, the universe will conspire to bring financial opportunities your way. I am a money magnet. Everything I touch turns to gold. If you truly believe that, the universe will start to organize itself for you to be a money magnet because that's what you believe. And so you're going to learn how to be a money magnet by reading this book. Number 3, it's going to help you release money blocks. So I say in the book, to attract wealth, you must release the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck in a scarcity mindset. So think about when you are resistant to attracting money, whether it's conscious or unconscious. I'm sure it's unconscious because most of us would not consciously resist attracting money. So unconsciously, you're resistant to attracting money. It means that you have limiting beliefs around money. And so this is keeping you stuck stuck in a scarcity mindset, and then you validate that, see, there's not enough. See, I'm always struggling. See, even when there is enough, then some big emergency happens to suck the money away. So if you have a scarcity mindset around money, even if you make a lot of money, you're still always going to get back down to that thermostat set point where you are comfortable in your subconscious belief system, reproving that scarcity is the truth, because that's your belief. So you've got to learn how to release those money blocks by changing your limiting beliefs. So release money blocks is critical to money magnetism. Number 4, gratitude and abundance. So gratitude opens the door to abundance. The more grateful you are for what you have, the more you will attract. So this really ties to the last one. If you have a scarcity mindset, you think there's not enough, which makes you not appreciate what you already have. If you are grateful for what you have and appreciate what you have, then as your gratitude increases, you just keep attracting from that state of vibrational frequency that's grateful and appreciative. So most people think, well, I don't have enough, and so they focus on wanting more, but it's coming from a scarcity mindset or a scarcity state of being. Instead, when you're grateful for what you already have, and not in this way where, maybe you were a kid and your parents said to you, be grateful for what you have, and they kind of used it against you, or people in your life did it that way. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a true state of gratitude and appreciation where you feel it in your being. And it's almost as if you really do have these tears of gratitude well up in your eyes when you think about what you have, who you have in your life, the opportunities you have. And you just feel this state of, yes, my life is good and I have the resources I need. Even if it's not a lot, you still can be grateful for what you have. This will increase the opportunity to attract more to be grateful for. So always remembering it comes from your state of being first. That's what this book is all about. 5. So the 5th key takeaway is inspired action. So I say in this book, manifesting wealth isn't just about thinking positively. It's about taking inspired action toward your financial goals. So inspired action is critical. Remember, action is evidence of belief. So if you're taking action, it means that you have a belief system that you can get what you want. If you're procrastinating, it gives you evidence that you don't really want the thing or you don't believe it's possible to get. So always know that when you take inspired action, you're opening doors of opportunity, and it means that your belief system is pointed in the direction of getting what you want. So action increases the opening of doors of opportunity. It helps you magnetize because you're sending out the signal, I'm serious, I'm committed, and I'm going for it. I'm going to get what I want. That increases your magnetism. So, sitting around on the couch and wishing and hoping and praying that you have something is not the full picture or formula for manifestation. You've got to decide with clarity and certainty what you want, take steps in the direction, that's inspired action, and then open doors of opportunity so the universe can bring you the way and show you how to get there. And you just take one step on the way and the way appears. So this book, I Am a Money Magnet book.com, is going to help you with your mindset shifts, money magnetism, release money blocks, give you the ability to understand how to use gratitude and appreciation for abundance, and take inspired action to tap into your fullest potential of being a money magnet. So that is book number 1. Again, go listen to other episodes about my book. I do a really great recap of the Afro mantras and my way that I formulated that concept. Okay, book number 2. Now, the reason I chose this book, it's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Again, remember the link is in the show notes for you to download the PDF for these books. This book was one of the very first books I read about money mindset. It actually might be the first book I read. It was probably up there in the top 3. And it blew my mind, rocked my world, and completely changed all of my thinking around money. And it formulated how I started to write money stories and have the people that I worked with write money stories. And I watched myself and the people I work with transform right before my eyes due to the key principles in this book. Wow, it's one of those that I think everyone must read every year. read it again and again, and you will notice shifts every time you read it. So in this book, he talks about your money blueprint. And here's what he says: give me 5 minutes and I can predict your financial future for the rest of your life. Woo, I agree. I can hear what people say really quickly and easily now and know what their belief system is. So he explains that subconscious beliefs determine financial outcomes and that these can be reprogrammed. Do you hear anything in there that I might teach here? It's wild how much this book influenced me. So he outlines your money blueprint. He does such a great job of explaining how your blueprint is what creates your money reality. And when I constructed having people writing money stories, this is really the main blueprint I used to talk about your belief systems around money in terms of how they get created by watching your parents and hearing them say things and how that influenced your money blueprint. Then he talks about how thoughts lead to results. So thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to results. So shifting how you think about money is the first step, or shifting how you feel about money. And that's your state of being. He doesn't say the word state of being in here, but that's really what he's talking about. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs make up your state of being, which cause you to take certain actions and then keep getting the results you're getting. So he doesn't ever, as far as I remember, I don't think he ever uses the word law of attraction, but he's talking about law of attraction principles. And so, he says you've got to change your thoughts, and that's the first step toward achieving wealth. Now, I'm not going to cover it today because I did another episode on Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a very Napoleon Hill concept. I'm certain T. Harv Eker read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I don't have it on our list for today, but that is an absolute must read as well. And I didn't cover it here because I already covered it in a whole episode. So just look up Think and Grow Rich on my episodes if you want to deep dive there. His next key principle is that rich people versus poor people have these different thoughts. So rich and poor people think and believe differently. So he says, rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. Really hear the differences there between a wealth mindset and a poverty mindset. So in wealth or rich mindset, you believe you're responsible and you have proactive behavior. You're not reactive, you're responsive. You are responsible for the reality you create, whereas poor people blame the world around them. Victim mindedness, scarcity mindedness. So if you want to be rich, you got to start taking responsibility for what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, so that you can get different results. Whereas when you're poor, you tend to stay stuck or poverty consciousness mindset, right? You stay stuck blaming the outer world, thinking it's all their fault. If only the environment was different, if only my parenting had been different, if only yada, yada, yada. And you stay stuck forever because you have an impoverished mindset. So rich people versus poor people, and the mindset around that is very different. And he really breaks that down. He also talks about the comfort zone and growth. So he says, if you want to move to a new level in your life, you must break through your comfort zone and do things that are not comfortable. He emphasizes that financial success requires pushing through your comfort zone. Now, this is powerful because he's so right in terms of our habituated ways of being. Because we are creatures of habit, comfort zone is the most comfortable place to be because we know what to expect. So our brain actually loves comfort zone because it can predict, it can know what's going to happen next, and that's safe and secure, and that's a survival mechanism. So in order to break through your old ways of being, you've got to get a little bit uncomfortable. And this is why most people don't change, because they're not willing to break out of their comfort zone. Right when they start to, I used to call this the inner critic leash. So you'd start to break through your comfort zone, and then the inner critic leash starts beating you up inside, like, you're not good enough to do that. What if something goes wrong? What if people think you're a fool? And you just start having all these negative beliefs. And so your inner critic leash pulls you back to your comfort zone. And in this book, he talks about this as a money set point. And he gives the example of a thermostat. And it's really powerful because, in that way, he's thinking, well, you have a certain setting that you're used to, and anytime it starts to move up or down, well, really up too much because that would be breaking out of your comfort zone. It moves up too much, you're going to do something to sabotage to get back to that comfortable set point. Let's say you move down too much. It is uncomfortable as well. And you have the belief that you deserve more, but it might not be the ultimate, like, oh, I deserve everything. You have whatever yours is set at. So say your thermostat set at a 70 and it goes down to 60 for some reason. You're like, oh, no way, I deserve 70. So you go back up to 70. Let's say you're wanting to break through to 100. Once you start to creep up to 80 and 85 and 90, you sabotage and you get back down to that 70 because your money set point is so powerful. So that's really what he's talking about here in terms of breaking through your comfort zone. You've got to start to play with small increases, daily inspired action like I talk about, in order to reset the thermostat in a way that doesn't trip the system. So in this way, you're not triggering sabotage because you went too far, too fast, and you can't handle it. Another book that I've talked about here is The Big Leap. And it's not in these, again, because it's really focused on Zone of Genius. It's not specifically focused on money mindset, but that is another book that you must read. He talks about this as ULPs, upper limit problems. So The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks is an absolute must read. And again, this is one I recommend you read every single year, The Big Leap. He also talks about breaking through your zone of excellence to get to your zone of genius. He coined the term zone of genius. So that's really related to what T. Harv Eker is talking about here and what I bring all the time, telling you you've got to get into your zone of genius in order to manifest from your zone of manifestation because you're doing things you enjoy. Most of us feel really uncomfortable in our genius because we have a set point, like T. Harv Eker's talking about, that brings us back down to this place of feeling kind of permanently crappy. It sounds so weird to say, but we are very addicted to stress, especially as entrepreneurs and business owners. We don't know how to relax. And I think I can speak this for most of us because I have yet to meet an entrepreneur who isn't pretty driven. You're not going to make it if you're not very driven as an entrepreneur, right? Yet, how can you be driven to relax and work less and make more? You can be driven to learn. You can be driven to expand your impact. You can be driven to expand your income while also being relaxed on the way and on the journey. It's a thermostat reset. And this is something I've really worked on in the last 6 years of growing a business, is learning how to relax and play more instead of always being on and always being focused on building my business. So how can relaxation be productive? That's a set point that's out of my comfort zone. So I've played with reprogramming myself and it's finally working. It's taken me a long time to get there because I was such a high achiever in my life and that was the only way that I knew how to feel comfortable. So that's what T. Harv Eker's talking about here. And number 5, he talks about committing to wealth. Okay, so rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people want to be rich. Oh, that's so powerful. I'm going to say it again. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people want to be rich. So he stresses the importance of having a deep commitment to achieving wealth, not just wishing for it. If you're sitting around wishing that things are going to happen, that doesn't mean that you actually are going to take any action, which means that your belief system is, I'm not willing to do what it takes to get what I want. And he has a whole section in this book that talks about how, everyone wants to be a millionaire, right? I don't know a person who wouldn't say yes to that, yet he says, are you willing to do what it takes? Now, I don't want this to reprogram you for you've got to work hard to make money. It's more be obsessed with your why. If you are obsessed with the why of building a successful business and being an entrepreneur who creates time and money freedom, then you are going to be willing to do what it takes, which does look like you having a really high value on building your business and learning everything you can about being a successful business owner, not just your craft or skill in terms of whatever it is that you offer in your services. It's also learning how to be a successful business owner. I think one of the biggest problems I see with, let's say, coach type entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs, is that they have this great idea to help the world, yet they are resistant or don't even know that they need to learn the business skills. If you don't want to run a business, how are you ever going to succeed at getting your services out there? So you've got to fall in love with entrepreneurship. You've got to fall in love with business building principles. Those are the people who make it as entrepreneurs. I heard this once from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you haven't read that, that's another one that's awesome too. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about adding best-selling book to being an author. So, if you're like, I want to write a book, well, anyone can write a book. If you want the book to make impact, you've got to be a best-selling author, which means you've got to market the book and turn it into a business, right? And so he talks about his success of being a best-selling author, not just an author. Same thing in your business. You can offer services and they can be the best services in the world, but if you don't know how to get them out there and attract more people to you, how are you ever going to make an impact? I've seen this happen so many times where people aren't business-minded. They don't recognize how important it is to have those practical, actionable strategies to build a business and implement those. They think somehow it's magically going to happen. And I know this sounds funny saying law of attraction for business, but you hear the mix of those. Law of attraction, get your energy aligned for business, right? Business is about making money. Otherwise, you have a hobby or you're a philanthropist. We're talking about building a business that brings money in because you're exchanging value in the world. So you've got to have that business mindset. So commit to wealth building through your business and be willing to do what it takes. Okay, book number 3. I could do an entire weekend workshop on this book, and here's why. It's Money and the Law of Attraction by Esther and Jerry Hicks. So this book, wow, when I read it, it was such a cool thing because I had this client who I started working with. I was doing some really awesome reprogramming work, and he had a partner who passed away from cancer, and we were helping him overcome the grief. Really because it was affecting every area of his life and business, and he was feeling really stuck and slipping into some depression. And so I have this grief recovery process that I learned from one of my main mentors, and we were practicing that. He had such huge breakthroughs. So we had this great coaching relationship, and he sent me in the mail a surprise, and it was Abraham Hicks card deck. And it was wild because at the time I was just starting to get into law of attraction, and I hadn't even heard of Esther and Jerry Hicks, which blows my mind at this point because I've read everything they have. I listened to everything. I mean, I love Abraham Hicks because so powerful and awesome. So when I got this card deck, I looked into them, and I'm one of those who just really obsesses about new learning. So when I started reading their card deck, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I ordered every book and read every book and just dove in. And that was really the beginning of my law of attraction obsession and wanting to learn everything I possibly can about it because I saw the power of it. And as I started implementing, everything just got easier and better. And wow, mind-blowing to me. So Money and the Law of Attraction, this is one of those. If you haven't read any of their books, you might want to start just first with their straight up Law of Attraction book. This one, because we're talking money mindset books, I wanted to make sure that you know about. So it's going to give you so many incredible key takeaways. Their whole entire foundation is that your reality is created through the law of attraction. Your thoughts create your reality. So they say, the better you feel, the more you are allowing your alignment with your source, and the more you allow that alignment, the more money will flow into your experience. So you can hear that everything is based in alignment. And alignment is about having a vibrational state of being that attracts abundance. So I don't even know how to separate what they're saying in this book from what I teach here because it's so a part of my DNA now that everything they talk about, I end up filtering into everything I teach because it's universal principles, universal truths that are timeless, and it's so powerful. I will say this, if you're new to them, when I read their first book, so they channel Abraham. And when I first read it, I was like, what the heck? Am I really going to become one of those weird people that like talks about channeling? And if you're a channeler, keep listening. I was pretty freaked out by it at first, actually. I grew up fundamentalist Christian, and, I would have been taught that this was like an evil book. And so, I am now a very spiritual person. I'm not religious anymore. And it still challenged me at first, was like, do I believe in channeling? What does that mean? And as I was reading the intro, I thought, okay, I'm just going to be open-minded and see how this goes. And then I just couldn't put it down. And it was like, wow, I don't even know if I care how they got this information. It is awesome. And now today I really understand channeling to be that you're connected with collective consciousness. There are different versions of channeling. I don't know what you believe about it. For me, I feel like I channel through getting really present and tapping into infinite intelligence, collective consciousness, presence, right? So in this present moment, it's kind of like when I do my podcasts. And in my Law of Attraction for Business school, I do daily lessons. So I produce a lot of content, and I don't write scripts out for this. I just go for it. And obviously when I'm writing a quote or something, I write that down, but I just talk. And it's because I'm very present and I just let the information come through me, which is channeling. So there are all kinds of beliefs and versions of channeling. I'm not going to get into that today, but I just wanted to give you that heads up. If you're someone who might have some resistance to that, just be open-minded and read the book and see what you take away from it. I think you'll be quite surprised by the end how it transforms you. I think it's a really, really powerful, life-altering read. Okay. Where was I? Number 2, their key takeaway, focus on abundance, not lack. So they say you cannot desire more money and predominantly focus on the lack of it and make it happen. So if you want more money, but you're focusing on the lack of money, you're going to get the lack. So you've got to align your thoughts with abundance instead of scarcity, and that's essential for manifesting financial success. They talk about your emotional guidance system. So this is really a key principle that they have in every single one of their books and teachings, because your emotions are your strongest indicator of your alignment or misalignment with source energy. And so if your emotions are off, and you just know by asking yourself, how do I feel? Then you'll know that you're going to attract from whatever that state of being or that feeling is. So remember, in my book, I talk about how we magnetize through our emotions. So when you're manifesting, you're having a conscious thought that you want something. What you're going to end up attracting to you is through your emotions or your feelings, because that's the vibrational frequency that you're set at. And so pay attention to your emotions to guide you toward thoughts that attract prosperity and financial abundance. So anytime you're noticing, I don't feel great, what are you going to do to shift your vibrational frequency? By up-leveling how you feel. This can be little things like doing jumping jacks, walking around the block, listening to a podcast. It doesn't have to be big things. It's just that it takes your conscious awareness to be able to recognize that your emotional guidance system is telling you that you're out of alignment with source energy of abundance. Source energy is always going to be the most abundant state because it's all things. It's the omnipresent, infinite intelligence, collective consciousness. Some people would think of this as God. I like to say God is grand organized design. It could be cosmic energy. There are many ways to describe what they mean by source, and, do what works for you. That doesn't cause you to have a block around it. It's important here to just know that when you're present and you feel good, you're going to attract abundance. When you are worried about the future or worried about the past, not feeling good in the present, you're going to attract scarcity and things that are low vibrational frequencies. So that's how you want to be connected with your emotional guidance system. All right, next key principle, they talk about the vibration of wealth. When you are in a state of appreciation, you are in the vibrational frequency of receptivity to money and all other things you desire. So when you're in a state of appreciation, your vibrational frequency is receptive to money and to what you desire. So to unblock yourself, raise your vibrational frequency to wealth consciousness. The more you practice gratitude and appreciation, the more you align with the vibration of wealth and abundance. So that's why so many people who are teaching the law of attraction talk about the power of appreciation and gratitude, because when you're in that vibrational frequency, it's a very high state and it attracts wealth. Next, they talk about how financial freedom is about alignment. There is no shortage of money or time, only a shortage of alignment. Ooh, that is so good. There is no shortage of money or time, only a shortage of alignment. So financial freedom comes from aligning your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with the energy of abundance. So again, recognize how you're feeling. remember my inner power formula to recognize, reframe, repeat to reprogram. Recognize how you feel. If it's not geared in a state of abundance, then reframe and then repeat, and you'll notice your vibrational frequency changing over time. So financial freedom is about alignment. To get aligned, you got to be conscious. You got to choose to recognize when you're out of alignment. So those are some of the key takeaways from that book. So many more. Definitely get it. It's on Audible. I think if you have Spotify Premium, you can get it for free too. Obviously, order the book. They have card decks, really cool stuff. So if you aren't into them, they also have really great short videos on YouTube. If you just type in Abraham Hicks, you'll find a whole bunch of awesome resources there. All right, number 4. Oh, this book. Most people haven't heard of this. And I actually had a woman on my podcast who shared this book with me, and I ordered it. And I didn't read it for probably a year. And then one day it just called to me and I was like, ooh, I got to read this book. And it is awesome. So A Happy Pocketful of Money by David Cameron Gikandi. And actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, it's at LOA4Biz, FOR, LOA4Biz. You can type in Happy Pocketful of Money, and it's actually my most watched video on YouTube. So check it out. So I go into a deep dive there. I'm just going to give you a few key principles here. First, I just want to say this book, wow, it does one of the best deep dives I've seen on quantum physics, metaphysics, law of attraction to really explain how wealth is rooted in your mindset. And he's just, you can tell I'm speechless about it. Go read it. So let's talk about the key takeaways. So wealth is a state of mind. Wealth is not what you have, but what you are. Wealth is a state of mind. So wealth is a state of mind. He stresses that wealth is not just material, but internal. It's the mindset that's focused on abundance. Do you hear a pattern here? I think so. The second key takeaway, the power of perception. Your reality is your perception. You create your reality through your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. And I know when you're listening to me right now, you're going to be thinking, these books have so much overlap. Yes, they do, because they're universal truths. When you read truth and you start to implement it, you will go, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and devour everything you can about wealth consciousness, because it's going to help you reprogram your mindset by the repetition of hearing the same things over and over and over again from different points of view. So the same truths from different perspectives, because we're all unique and we have different ways of sharing that wisdom with the world. And so, Gikandi's not saying anything different than I am in my I Am a Money Magnet book, or Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, or Money and the Law of Attraction. It's just framed from his perspective and his unique experiences and how he likes to teach about it. So you're going to hear patterns, and that's why it's so important to read every single book you possibly can on money mindset if you truly desire to be as wealthy as you choose to be in this lifetime. And I mean that monetarily and vibrationally. Wealth consciousness is about feeling good in your state of being, enjoying life, having great relationships, feeling healthy in your body, having money in the bank, having an abundance, being able to give back, making a huge impact. That's wealth consciousness, right? So he talks about time and money are illusions. Time and money are mental constructs. They are not real. They are merely concepts we use to navigate life. So he explores how these are human inventions and how you can free yourself from scarcity thinking by understanding how time and money are illusions. Now, I read this book with a mastermind, and definitely many of the students in there were like, whoa, I got to read this book a couple times to really understand it. So if you're newer to this way of thinking and you're newer to, quantum physics, metaphysics, some of it's going to trip you out a little, where you're going to go, whoa, that's bending my mind. That's good. Keep reading it until you understand it. Keep hanging out with people who are thinking in these ways, and you'll notice abundance follows the thinkers who know these things, the believers who know these things, because they are vibrating at a very high vibrational frequency, because they understand that everything is created through energy first, right? Number 4, gratitude attracts wealth. Again, we hear gratitude. Gratitude is the seed that attracts abundance. The more grateful you are for what you have, the more wealth you will attract. Again, this is what we keep hearing over and over again, right? So really important to pay attention to the clues that are being left by highly successful people who have understood the art of cultivating how to raise their vibrational frequency to be energetically aligned to attract wealth. He says visualization and intention are important. So the universe responds to the clarity and power of your intentions. Visualize your wealth with vivid detail and believe it is already yours. The universe responds to the clarity and power of your intentions. So are you clear in your thought? Are you clear in your intentions? Are you visualizing wealth in vivid detail? Or are you focusing on what you don't have? Are you worrying about what you don't have? And I really want you to question yourself here. How much of the day do you spend worrying about what you don't have and worrying how you haven't figured out the puzzle of your problems yet? Or are you focused on what you want? Remember, your point of attraction is going to come to you through what you're focused on most, consciously and unconsciously. So if you are focused with clarity and power on your intentions and you're seeing it regularly, it's impossible for it to not come to you. But the problem is most people are unconsciously focused on what they're worried about. And that's why they keep just recreating that reality. All right, book number 5, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. I would imagine that most of you know of this book. Many of you have probably read it. If you read it a while ago, reread it. It is so good. I vividly remember reading this book because I actually listened to it first, and I was driving back and forth on these long drives to do my dissertation research. And I was working with incarcerated men who I was doing life history interviews with, and I was listening to this book on the way back and forth, and it was so amazing to hear some of the guys who were in this rehabilitation program talk about some of the principles here because they were changing their mindset, and they were in a cognitive therapy reprogramming rehabilitation center after 18 years on average of being incarcerated. So these guys had these really intense victim lives where they experienced severe victimization. They were in gangs and lots of abuse, and I was doing life history interviews to write my dissertation for my doctorate in sociology. And so I'm listening to this book, and then I'm having these interviews with these guys, and then I'm listening to the book. Usually on the way home, I couldn't listen to the book because I had to process everything I just learned and often cry and just, go through the intensity of having those interviews with these guys. But it was wild, the contrast that I experienced in the way of, here's Jen Sincero talking about this, but then, there's this contrast of like, they're incarcerated and here I'm in my car listening to this abundance. And yet a lot of them were saying similar things. And I was so impressed by their choice to change their mindset and start focusing their energy in new directions. So just a little context of when I first read this book many, many years ago. And it really just blew my mind. She is such a great writer, and she makes you laugh. She's got great action steps and exercises in the book. It's really great. If you haven't read it, I actually would love to reread it again. I haven't done it for a couple years, so I wanted to highlight it here because it's very digestible, it's very actionable, and it makes you laugh. It's just so great. So her key takeaways: embrace your right to wealth. You are meant to live a life of abundance in every area, and you have everything you need to do so. So you have everything you need to be wealthy. She talks about overcoming limiting beliefs. Your thoughts and beliefs dictate your financial reality. So if you want to change your financial life, you must change your thoughts first. Hearing it again, thoughts create your reality. Think and Grow Rich, all the books I've talked about today. This is critical. Get control of your thoughts. She focuses quite a bit on identifying and eliminating self-limiting beliefs that prevent you from making money. So really great action steps there for that, to overcome your limiting beliefs. She talks about taking bold, inspired action. Decide what you want. Decide you want it more than you're afraid of it. Oh, that's great. Decide you want it more than you're afraid of it. Just sit with that for a second. Have I decided that I want it more than I'm afraid of it? That's like I was just talking about. Are you focused on the fears and the worries, or are you focused on wanting it and being, that, like we talked about earlier, that obsession with your why and really caring about what you're doing in the world? So do you want it more than you're afraid? Decide, decide, decide. Money as a tool of freedom. So she says, when you make money, you help others live richer lives too. So, there's these reframes of money as a tool for freedom and positive impact rather than something that leaves you feeling guilty about wanting it. And so, there's a lot of people who worry about when they make more money, they might change who they are at the core, instead of knowing that money enhances who you are and just amplifies who you are. So when you make money, you help others live richer lives too, if that's your intention. So it's your intention behind it. If you're a generous person who wants to do good in the world, when you have more money, you have more opportunity to do good. If you're a bad person who wants to do bad things in the world and you get more money, you'll have more money to do bad. And pretty sure that if you're here still listening to this right now, you're not that person. So don't worry about that. And she teaches you how to do that. Last, she talks about aligning your mindset with wealth. Have you heard the theme here again? Aligning. Wealth consciousness, actions, inspired action, belief system. So she says your thoughts and energy need to be aligned with the financial reality you want to create. Alignment. So you're aligning your energy and mindset with abundance, and that's the key to manifesting wealth. Use visualization, affirmations, or affirmantras like I teach, and positive thinking. So many good books. I could give you hundreds of books to read, if not thousands, and if you just start with these 5, even if you've read them before, give them a reread because they are powerful, powerful books. Of course, you heard me add in there a few books like Think and Grow Rich, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and then we also talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So those are 3 other books. So you've got 8 to start with right there. And these, if you just focus on raising your money vibe through saturating your brain with books and knowledge and people who are vibrating at wealth consciousness, it would be impossible for you to not start to change into a wealth consciousness being. So read these books. Again, I Am a Money Magnet by me, Dr. Amanda Barrientos, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, Money and the Law of Attraction by Jerry and Esther Hicks, A Happy Pocketful of Money by David Gikondi, and You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. The link for these is in the PDF in the show notes. Thanks so much for joining me on my book nerding out. Oh, I love books. I love learning. So I enjoyed getting to do this episode with you today. Until next time, I'm sending you giant hugs and money magnet high fives.